Black Magic Sorcerer here, back with another video. And today we're going to be discussing a book that I think all magicians, especially those who aspire to be of the left-hand path or are basically ex-Christians who have come from a family of being taught that Christ is the only way. This book is a really incredible critique of just that, of basically the Catholic religion. You know, he really gets into it. He gets into it about on a logical level that I don't think people really appreciate. He just really talks about the common sense reasons why one should not be a Christian. It's not about hating Jesus. It's about not following a path of sheep. And obviously, Friedrich Nietzsche was no sheep. And the reason I think this would be a great book for those trying to deconstruct a abusive or I would say overpowering brainwash from the church, this book will really give you a good sense of humor to approach why you shouldn't feel bad that you don't love Jesus. And in fact, you may even find yourself having the same kind of fire that he had towards them and their misrepresentations. He cuts to the core, and that's why I really love Friedrich Nietzsche, because it is a book that is philosophy, but I guarantee you, black magicians from all time have read and studied this book, because the truth in it is just exactly that. Trying to see what this is written on. That which does not kill us makes us stronger, Friedrich Nietzsche. I didn't even know that that was his quote. So, as a beginner in spirituality, if you're going into dark spirituality, if you're looking into practicing black magic or joining a occult order, and you have been in a family or in a situation where basically you've been brainwashed to think that you're going to go to hell if you don't worship the Son of God, that deconstruction is a lot harder than people think, because the verses from the Bible can be so powerful in themselves that the Christian rites and everything that has been rubbed off on you, it is a part of your psyche if it's happened to you from child to now. Now, why is it so important, Jason? Why? Why does it matter that mom was a Christian and I worship the devil? Because it's God by a different name. It's find it ironic that so many people who start out as Christians actually become devil worshippers or Satanists or occultists, because they're so unsatisfied with the church, all organized religion, and basically any business type religion that appeals to the masses and keeps people in control and tries to tell people how to live their life. And then even worse, expects you to worship the people who run the church and not the God that they're supposed to serve. So I really recommend The Antichrist. And it is Antichrist. It's not Antarchist. Just so you know, because I said that. I was going to say that. It's The Antichrist. It's a wonderful book, and it's a short read. So, it's about half of a novel, but it's packed full of information, and the print is, I would say, pretty standard. It's not super small or anything, so you can probably get through this in a day or two if you're like me and you read half a book at a time. But you know what? I recommend you read it regardless, because it is not a attack on Christ. It is an attack on the people who claim to represent him, and that's why I love it so much. Because if Christ really did exist, he probably was a magician, and that means he's probably was someone that I would have admired. But we'll never know that, and the history has been so fucked up that I don't really think it's worth getting into. I think that it's something that you either are 100% for or 100% not into or against. Because when you really look at the way he lays it out, you'll understand why, from a logical point of view, not anything crazy, nothing extreme, just common sense, day to day living thinking. He will point out in such a way that you'll say, okay, maybe I am a little over the top here to believe that there's this place called hell, and that if I don't accept Jesus, I'm going straight there because I had premarital sex with my girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. Or you used foul language, or you took the Lord's name in vain one time when you stubbed your toe at church and you didn't ask for repentance. The list goes on and on. And I don't think it really matters what you believe as far as being a Christian. It just matters that you're not rubbing off on people to a point where it drives them to insanity. Aleister Crowley was driven to his occultism by an overbearing family of very hardcore, super hardcore Christians. Like, to the nth letter of the degree, the Bible was interpreted literally in his house, and it was the only book he was allowed to read. So you can imagine the deconstruction it would have took on his mind to reject those ideas, beliefs, and the training that you are receiving when you go to Sunday school. I'll give you an example just from my own personal experience to one of the things I object to. So if you just look at the 10 Commandments themselves, those are rules that basically were handed down for peasants. Those were rules that were given to people who didn't know better, who were ignorant, who didn't even own a book, who lived savage lives in those times. They were not allowed to have literature, not to mention the Bible. So what do you think happens? So you can't read a book. You don't own a Bible, so you go to church and they tell you what to believe. And because you'll never have the ability to read anything else, how do you think the whole thing got started? It got so popular. It's because people were basically forced to believe it. And if you think about it, if you take a child from the age of 3 or 4 and start telling him about heaven and hell and Jesus and all the stories and all the bullshit that's in the Bible, I guarantee you're going to have yourself a Christian. Or better, or like your pal telling you the story right now, you're going to have a, for lack of a better term, satanic devil worshiping occultist is what you're going to have. You keep dragging your kids and forcing them to do something they don't want to do, especially when they're getting older, I guarantee they will walk out the fucking door just like I did. I walked out at the age of 10 and said, I'm not coming back. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever done. It was a defining moment in my life, and I don't regret it. And I would say that to Jesus Christ's face, because the Jesus that I know, the Yahweh that I know from the astral plane, he isn't a tyrannical stupidity person. He is a very healing, very wise, soothing, unjudgmental spirit. But he is not God. He is not the creator. And it had nothing to do with that. He was a man who ascended and realized he was God, and now in the astral plane, he's a whole different character. But try telling that to the fundamentalist Christian. You will enjoy Friedrich Nietzsche's The Antichrist. I recommend you buy it. And I recommend you buy multiple copies and hand it out to friends, like fellow Christians. Dark blessings, and if you're Christian, I love you, and if you don't like it, fuck you. Have a nice day.